Hey guys, it's Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. We have the XIANG F08 in front of us. This is a Bell 206. This is from RTR Hobby. Now, if you've been kind of following the helicopter videos for the last year, you'll know that I've been getting quite a bit of helicopters from RTR Hobby. Everything you see in front of you, so this guy right here, the Huey, the police chopper over here, and the one that we're about to check out today all came from RTR Hobby. Now, this is going to be a cool video, guys, because I'm going to do two things. One, we are going to unbox the F08. We will go through the specs. We're going to fly it as well. But we're also just going to go over helicopters in general. So all these are from XIANG. They're all from RTR Hobby. I'm going to leave links, guys, in the description to all the helicopters. They'll all get you to RTR Hobby. They have a lot of helicopters. And it can be kind of intimidating when you go to the website the first few times because one, there's a lot of helicopters, but two, the prices kind of range all over the place. So you can see something down to the $100 mark, $99 mark, and you can get up into the $1,200, $1,300 range. Now, I'm going to ask you guys for a little bit of help here. So again, I've been with RTR Hobby now, guys, for about a year, and I started off with this little guy here, worked up to the police copper, got the Huey, and now I've got the F08. I am hoping, guys, to build a great relationship with RTR Hobby where I can get even to the bigger helicopters and get into the GPS ones. That's where, guys, I'm hopefully headed. Because the neat thing about these three here, forget about this one right now, these all had a bit of a different flying experience. They all, 2S, 3S, and then back to 2S with the Huey. They're all a little bit different. And the one thing you guys need to know between the F08 and this Huey right here, 134 scale and size, these are somewhat identical helicopters. So even though the body, the fuselage, the canopy, however you want to refer to it, is different, the electronics themselves, so the 1200 kV main motor, the 5500 tail motor, the 3 servos, the gyro, everything like that is the same. It just looks different. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into that box, do the unboxing, cover a few of the specs, but then I'm going to get into what you need to know if you're looking for your first helicopter, or if you have your first helicopter, where you want to go next. Now, I have already, guys, opened the box because I'm always kind of excited to see things. So I always sort of do that first kind of peek. You got a manual, you've got extra tail blades, you got an extra rotor blade, the rear tail rotor blade. I don't know, that's how you refer to it, guys. First off, I should add this, guys, I'm not some helicopter guru, so I don't know all the bodies, all the fuselages. That's what I'm not. I'm just a super fan, guys, of flying helicopters. You do have a USB-A to USB-C charger. What's neat about, I don't remember what was in there. Again, guys, I did open this already and I kind of just took a quick peek at it. The model I got has the 2 batteries. So you've got one right now in the helicopter, you've got one right here. You can go up to, I think it is 3. Now, I definitely recommend getting at least the 2 battery version. Reason is, if you're like me and you're mainly into, RC cars and trucks and bashing, when I get out with a helicopter, I need a good 5, 6, 7 minutes to kind of get a feel for everything again. You're going back to a stick radio versus a pistol, and it does take a little bit of time to get used to. And what I find is by the time you really got a good feel and you're kind of actually enjoying the flight and you're flying around, that's usually when your first battery is done. Now, this battery does last, guys. I forget the size of it. It does last somewhere, I don't know, guys. I'm going to say close to maybe 15 minutes. It is a 2S 1200 milliamp pack. I at least know I get over 10 minutes. Maybe 13 to 14 minutes. It all just kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're kind of like me and sometimes you're out and you're flying around, but then all of a sudden you're doing a whole lot of, boom, 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 kind of like the way I drive a ground car, yeah, you're going to go through the battery a little bit more. All right, guys, here it is, the XIANG F08 based off of a Bell 206. Now, I just remembered what was in that little baggie. It was these guys right here. You do have to put these fins in after you get the helicopter out of the box for the first time. But what I want to do now is quickly just go over what this helicopter is and some of the specs. So it is dual brushless motor, guys. It's a 1250, I believe, main motor, or 1200 kV main rotor motor with a 5500 kV in the rear. You have 2 very important features. So you have the gyro, like I was mentioning earlier on in the video, as well as the altitude hold, the altitude flow sensor. So how this works is, back in the day with a helicopter, when you would lift off, it would kind of flow all over the place. So everything you were doing was kind of a counter. So if you were, if you took off and you started going like this, you had to come back. And then you started going like this, you had to come this way. If you're going up too high, you were going to come down. And you were basically all over the place. What's nice now is having these built-in gyros. Once the helicopter goes up, if you happen to, you move the transmitter stick a little bit this way, when you let off, it'll counter the helicopter back. Where back in the day, if you did that, it would just keep going and it would keep going this way. And you were always, I don't even know how the RC pilots that fly helicopters, I don't actually know how they do it. My head does not work that fast. I need help. So with having all that gyro in it, it helps keep this thing basically stable. Now, don't think of it as a GPS, because it's not a GPS. It's not going to have a perfect hold, which means if you take it up, don't think the helicopter is just going to sit there absolutely perfect. It's not going to do that. However, and we're going to do it when we get out and start flying it, you will see me kind of hold the transmitter out in front of you guys. I'll take my fingers off the sticks and you will see that it does stay roughly where you want it to. And again, guys, it's not a GPS, but it does a really good job. And for those that have flown helicopters before having a gyro, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the other thing that it has is under here, right there. So that is a optical flow sensor. Now, what that does, when enabled, because you're able to kind of turn that off with the radio, it sort of senses where the ground is. So if you decide to use the landing feature on the radio where you can hit a button and the helicopter will land itself, that sensor basically is detecting the ground. It knows where it is so that your helicopter doesn't just crash landing when you hit the button. The other thing it does is it also limits the altitude, so the height that the helicopter will go to, so that again, if you're new, you don't kind of get panicky and all of a sudden find your helicopter way up in the air, and then you have a hard time kind of seeing it. Now, unlike a drone, helicopters, at least you could kind of see which way they're facing. When you get out with a drone, once you get it far away from you, it's either you're pushing the stick and you're moving forward, and that's how you're kind of getting an idea where it is. But once you stop, you don't necessarily know which way it's facing. With a helicopter, at least you have, you can see your canopy, you can see the tail, as well as just the colors. You can tell, hey, if the black's in the front, the black's facing this way, that's the front. If the red's that way, it's rear. Definitely helps if you're somebody like me who is not a great RC helicopter pilot, but who loves to fly RC helicopters. And I'm going to stress that, guys, in a couple times during the video. I am not a RC pilot. I just really enjoy flying. I struggle when I go out. Usually by, again, guys, that first pack, maybe into the second one, I start getting a better feel for it. But I really enjoy flying helicopters, so that's why I've got 4 in front of you, and I've had drones and I've had other helicopters in the past. Now, besides from the gyro, guys, and the optical flow sensor, you also have altitude hold. Now, I don't know if that flow sensor helps with the altitude hold, but basically what it does is, unlike some aircraft, helicopters or planes, anything, you can see that the stick comes back to center. Now, what that basically is instead of it being, I'm going to kind of exaggerate here, but let's just say like 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 100% throttle, what happens is, as you're flying, if you hit this, you're going to spin up a little bit faster. But then when you let off, it's going to stay there. So again, when I say this and I say spin up faster, that's obviously, guys, your altitude as well, because as you spin these faster, as you spin your blades faster, your helicopter is going to go up faster. The nice thing about that is, again, if you're flying around, you're new like me, you let off and you can kind of just sort of fly. You can be pushing forward, you can be, if you're, turning, pitch, whatever. It's nice that that is the way it is, because you kind of don't go crazy. So you don't find yourself constantly sort of playing with the throttle where all of a sudden you've got too much power and then you let off, but then your helicopter starts to fall because you've cut all the power. Again, very nice feature to have. Another feature that this helicopter has, and the Huey, which you guys can't see anymore, but it's over here, it also has, is a one-touch inverted flight. Now, I have never used that. I'm not going to use it in this video, but I will use it at some point. And basically, guys, it's exactly what it sounds. One touch, so you hit a button on the radio. Now, you've got to be at a certain height. You've got to be in, I think it's high rates, and you also have to have the sensor to manual. So there's a button right here. It basically turns off that optical sensor because, again, guys, it wants to go up to a certain height. And I think it's higher than kind of when you use the sensor, it's higher than that to do that inverted flight, because basically it wants the room to flick this helicopter upside down. Now, I want to do it, and I'm going to do it, just once again, guys, not in this video. The cool thing is both the F08 and the Huey will do that. These are two identical helicopters when it comes to the specs. The parts, all the mechanisms are all the same. It's just the body. So if you're somebody that wants something that just looks a little bit more like your basic helicopter, you can go with something like the F08. If you're looking, you know, something that's, let's say, a little bit more on the scale side, a little more Army related, you can go with something like the Huey. The neat thing with the Huey is the doors open. I don't know if they change any of the characteristics of the helicopter flying. It's just kind of neat. Both are really good looking helicopters. They are also both 2S helicopters. So these are 2S batteries. I think the only 3S one I have is the police helicopter that you saw kind of at the start of the video. You can sort of still see it. It's kind of in the corner over there. It is a 3S helicopter. All right, guys, flying the XIANG F08 for the first time. We're gonna unlock. Hopefully you guys can see that. Go out. We're gonna go high rates. We're gonna talk about that more during the video. Right now, guys, we've just got our hand on the one stick. Now, she is a little bit breezy. You can see the leaves. Obviously, that's going to interfere with things and how the helicopter flies out here. But we're going to start off kind of small. Just a little, kind of keep it close to us. There's nobody here at the park right now, which is nice. I don't have to worry about little kids kind of running around. Now, the other thing that's nice is when I first was kind of thinking I was going to come out, first it was raining, and then it got super blue sky, which was going to make it hard to see the helicopter, but it clouded over a bit, got a little bit of overcast going on, which is nice. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this in kind of close, and I'm just going to show you guys how this will hover. Now, again, remember, guys, it's a little bit breezy out here right now. Now that, guys, right now, I'm kind of doing, I'm sort of holding it there. I'm just doing it with the one stick. Now, I just realized I didn't have it on. So now I've turned it on. Hopefully you guys can see that. Helicopter is just holding. Now I'll bring it up a bit. Now it's probably more acceptable to the wind up here, but here we go. From hands completely off the stick. And you can see how it's just kind of hovering there. I can probably even take out my iPhone, go into the video, and record from there. And again, guys, there is some wind out here, so this probably isn't the smartest thing to do. But, again, I feel pretty comfortable doing it. While we're here, you know what? We'll even grab a thumbnail. All right, so hopefully, guys, that gave you a good idea of how stable this thing is. So again, you're flying it around, you start freaking out. You know what? You can let off. And it basically, guys, slows right down. Now, yeah, we've got some wind out here, but this still isn't like the olden days where if you went like this, that would just keep going. You take your finger off the stick and it would just keep going right into the trees. That's not the case now. And these XIANG helicopters, guys, are friggin' awesome. They look scale, which is the best part. They're not some crazy looking canopy that just doesn't make any sense. They're scale, they look like really helicopters, or real helicopters. You've got the light on the front, which will also, guys, start to blink when the battery is almost dead. Now I'm gonna go back because I actually prefer, guys, to fly this in manual without that sensor. I find it's just a little bit quicker to respond. So at the beginning of the video, I did mention that we were going to talk about high rates versus low rates. The one thing that's kind of a negative about flying in low rates is that the helicopter does not respond as quickly. Now you might be thinking that's a good thing, and if it's your first time flying, yeah, it is. But what happens is, let's say I was headed, I'm gonna bring it in close to kind of give you guys an idea. We're gonna go close to this tree. Let's say I am flying out here and I'm starting to go a little bit crazy and I start to panic. As I'm coming in for this tree, when I pull back, you can see the helicopter responds really fast. It almost stops. We're flying along, guys, right now. We pull back, we stop pretty quickly. Same thing, we're flying along, we stop fairly quickly. We go back into low rates and we're flying along. So we're flying along, we pull back. It takes a lot longer to slow down. So again, if you're trying to make a very quick kind of correction, when you're in low rates, even though the inputs aren't as drastic and they're not as crazy, it's going to take a little bit longer to respond. I prefer it to be a little bit quicker, so even with my lack of flying skills, I prefer it that way. Yeah, she looks good. Now I know the one thing with doing these helicopter videos is just using the GoPro is not the greatest because the helicopter looks pretty small. I'm gonna come out with my son soon. I'll have him with the mirrorless and we will get some better footage of this thing. Just trying to fly it slow so you guys can get a good look at it. That's giving it full speed, guys. So again, you can see it's not going to skyrocket. You watch like a 3D helicopter, once you do that, the thing just launches. That's not going to be the case. You're never going to have those crazy kind of out of control experiences. But yet, she still moves along good. Got an idea. And let's bring it in for, actually, you know what we'll do, guys? We're going to try the landing. So I know we got to have that sensor back on. And we're going to try, guys, if I flick down on the landing button. There it goes. Just like that. Now it will shut off by itself. You can also hold this stick down to shut it off or just switch in the lock. That'll stop the blades from spinning. All right, guys, so there it is, the XIANG F08 brought to you guys by RTR Hobbies. Now, that video went on for about another 20 minutes, and I was gonna make it all one video, but then I realized it was gonna be almost 45 minutes long. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna finish editing that footage and I'll release more of just a flight only video. I'm gonna say this, guys, though, I really enjoyed flying this helicopter. I like the look, I like the more scale look of the helicopter. You know, even though I do like the Huey's pretty badass with the guns and everything, I just kind of like the way this one looks. The runtime was definitely, guys, good. Like I mentioned, when I came home, I had a little over 25 minutes on my GoPro, so you're about 12 and a half, maybe 13 minutes per battery. The one thing, though, I'm going to recommend, when you guys are inserting these batteries, it goes in like that. So this is going to be kind of hard to do. I'm going to put the camera down. Hopefully I can keep this looking the way I want. But underneath here, the battery goes in like this. And what you kind of want to do when you're putting this thing in, it kind of clicks in, but you really want to make sure that these tabs, and you can see right now, it almost would look like they're sitting in, but if you kind of just push this back a little bit, now you hear the click. You really want that, because I know on my Huey, the green one, probably maybe the first or the second flight, I had a battery just fall out of it. And luckily enough, I was in my backyard. I was only hovering maybe 2 or 3 feet off the ground. And all of a sudden I just watched the battery fall and then the helicopter fell. So just make sure you got it properly clicked in there. There is like little tabs in the battery, and there's little tabs on the plastic inside where it inserts. You just want to make sure that you get that click, and that at that point, even if you just kind of give the battery, you know, a little bit of a little tug from this little part here, just to make sure that it's inserted properly and it doesn't fall out on you. Again, I was in my backyard. I was only a few feet off the ground. It wasn't a big deal, but you'd hate to be out someplace and, you know, you're a good 15, 25 feet in the air, you're ripping it around, and all of a sudden the battery just drops, because unlike a plane, the helicopter is going to drop too. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Big thanks to RTR Hobby for sending this out to me. Again, I've got the Huey, which is basically the same, but for me, I just kind of like the look of this helicopter. I think I like the color of it better too. I think it just kind of stands out a little bit more when I'm in the air. I have a better idea of its orientation and everything. So as always, guys, if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up, please subscribe, and have a fantastic day.